Here I am, Leon C., a.k.a. Morpheus. And I'm here again with Brian today in the Academy of Wow Man. And he don't know why he's here today, but this is going to be a connection with the audio I just made for you. And see if I can pull up the title of it. It's according to Peter's story with let's see, what was it? The Invader's Mark. The Invader's Mark. Now that's the title of the video I made for you. And so what I'm going to do is throw this question at Brian. This isn't we do it live, so this isn't staged or anything. Brian have no idea what I'm going to ask him, because I do think that Brian has social media. He has a Facebook. So I'm going to ask him the question. And let's see what he says. And then I'm going to tell him just a little bit about Peter's story and see what he thinks about it. And then you come up with your own conclusion and your own mindset with this. And without being scripted, I'm going to see what he say. So let's get right into it, ladies and gentlemen. So, Brian, how are you doing in this wonderful day?
Oh, I'm good, man. Can't complain. How you doing?
I'm doing quite well. So, you heard the introduction, everything. It's random questions. And of course, this is going to be according to one of my friends actually emailed me because he has a question in the struggle with one of the girls that pretty much called him back after several years since he met this girl in college. And while he was there, he wanted to actually get to know this girl naturally in the right way, Brian. So before I tell you what she did, let me ask you this random question. So pretty much everybody has some sort of, I won't say everybody, but most people have some sort of social media, right?
True.
Okay. And do you have, I'm sure you have Facebook, something like that?
Yeah, I got a Facebook page.
What about Instagram?
I don't use it, but yeah, I got it.
So how would you feel if you're getting to know some woman, right?
Mm-hmm.
And let me turn off this projector here, because I know it's kind of loud in the background. I want them to be disturbed with that. See what happens. Okay. And she asks you a question like, hey, what do you do for a living? How old are you? And where you grow up? And what type of religion you used to be? What type of town? How long you been? If you used to be married? And you tell this girl, you say something like, baby, I'll tell you that, but let's take it slow. I can't tell you everything about myself. I'm just going to take it one day at a time. Not only that, I want you to get to know me from me. Take you out to eat. Let's conversate. Let's get to know each other that way. And I'll show you. I'll share my life story with you. As a matter of fact, it's going to be inevitable because I want a future relationship with you. I'm going to open up to you. I mean, you're going to be my wife one day if you stick in it long enough. Now, how would you feel, Brian? And what would you think about if, let's say this girl heard what you said, but she did something else? Let's say you took her out 4 months later or something like that.
Okay.
And she comes to you and she says, oh, Mr. Brian, so I found out you grew up in, let's, for example, North Carolina. And I didn't know you was, let's say 40 years old. And dang, you should have told me that you had such a big family. How come you didn't tell me the first time? How would you feel about that? Let's talk about it.
Basically, she didn't respect his wishes.
Oh, talk about it.
That's what it sounds like. She didn't respect his wishes. She wanted to do her own thing.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't respect his wishes, you don't really respect him.
Oh man, preach, 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 preach. And you know what, Brian? And you have a social media, and the thing is, I can imagine you meeting this girl, and you just don't need her to know all that up front. Why? Because she's gonna judge you off that anyway. Just think about it. If you got pictures up there, are you standing next to famous people and look like you got some money? You got like limousines and stuff like that that you working with. How is it that she's going to be able to get to know you as a man if she's looking at your prospects and what you have potential? So if you try to take it slow, what's going to end up happening is when you're holding back or you don't really want to take her out anywhere or you don't want to do something on the weekend, she's automatically going to assume that whatever you're doing is going to be based off your pictures and everything that you're posting. Am I correct? So Peter's situation is he went through that with this girl in college and he wanted to take his time and get to know her. But instead of her trusting him and saying, okay, he's private because that's his business, I respect him. And he don't want to put his business out there and he wants to take it slow. And I'm just going to respect his wishes and I'm going to learn how to trust him. She did just that to him. And when he confronted her about the situation, when she told him that, hey, oh, I didn't know you did that. And, ooh, that was a good page. And oh, you should tell me about your family. He immediately got upset, which any man should, and said, first of all, you disrespect me. And I wanted to take this relationship slow. Now I know that anything that I say to you as a man, if we were in a relationship, that means you're not going to respect me for anything else. You're going to go around me in any situation that we get into. Is that true or false? What do you think about that?
Sounds correct to me.
See, so many women think that because a man may not have Instagram, he may not have Facebook, he may not have YouTube, he may not have social media. What women tend to do is immediately think that that guy's either hiding something or he's some type of ex-criminal or he's some type of drug dealer, because women operate in a scare mindset. They always look for safety, protection, and provision. Safety and protection and provision. So because they don't trust the average man, obviously, instead of them relying on him and taking it one day at a time, they take matters into their own hands instead and think that that's going to change the situation. Because even if she didn't let Peter know, and I think we call the girl in his story, which is not really her name, but just anonymous Sarah. Even if Sarah didn't tell Peter that she'd done this, he will figure out that she's up to something because she's going to be nagging at him. She's going to be having unrealistic expectations. And she's going to be accusing him of cheating. Or when he's getting ready to go out of town to go pick up something or meet his family, what's going to flash in her mind is those pictures she saw maybe Facebook or Instagram and say, oh, wait a minute. He was standing next to this one girl, because she don't know if that's his sister or ex-girlfriend or whatever. And she's also going to be looking at the pictures in the background of where he's at. So she's going to immediately think, oh, no, he's not going out of town so he can see his family. He's going out of town because he's probably cheating on me with that girl I saw in the photo. That makes sense, right?
That's true. And God forbid he likes some girls' pictures.
Oh, man, that's even more so. See, and I'm glad you brought that up. If he did have private photos of his own that he liked other girls or something, maybe he copied and pasted or something, do you know what Sarah would do over time? She's gonna say, oh, I know the type of girl that you like, and oh, so you like black girls with fat booties, huh? Oh, so you like white women with big breasts. And what she'll end up doing is comparing herself to the other girls in the photo, but yet Peter is actually spending time with her because he likes her, not the women in the photos.
There you go. There you go. You just said,
why do women do themselves like that? Why do they hurt themselves, man? I mean, why? I mean, how would you feel? You see, with Peter, he spent time with this girl. This is a real story, Brian. This is real. He spent time with this girl and he had hopes. And I normally don't use that word because it's not in my vocabulary. But for him,
high hopes.
high hope.
High hopes.
He had high hopes. You know that better than I do. So he really thought they would study together. They would take long walks together. She was the type of girl who would wake up at 6 or 5 o'clock in the morning and go jogging with this dude. So he told her, I think you might be the one. So I'm going to take my time with you because I understand how women operate. And one day, I'm going to be a high value man. One day, I may be famous. One day, I might be the president. So I want to make sure that whatever social media that I have or the girls that I deal with, I'm careful because it could bite me in the future. And then come to find out, she bit him instead. What? I mean, she couldn't appreciate just taking a nice long walk with this guy. Why would she think or have in her mind that he's some type of stranger danger? All because he don't want to open up to her immediately. Why do women do themselves like that? What's your take on that, bro?
Women these days, especially.
Yeah, they're special, all right.
Well, I'm just saying, women these days, they want to be the one in control, the one in the driver's seat.
That's it. Yeah. And if she can't control it, it might be a problem.
There's a problem.
Or it might be something that may hurt her. When, I don't normally see women getting mugged when you drive down the street. I mean, I see a lot of women jogging on the sidewalk, usually by themselves. Why don't they actually look at that? Immediately they automatically assume somebody's chasing after them. Think about it, bro. Who cares? I mean, why would a man waste his energy and time to focus on harming or chasing down one woman when there's billions of women that look better than her, smell better than her, go to the club or the bar somewhere, probably drunk and willing to give it up, which I don't condone that and think that he should, but it happens. Why would most women think that the world is a danger for them? And then use that as an excuse to assault men and to get in their privacy. Now, in return, Brian, this is what she said, and I want your take on this. Because everybody wants to know what you think and how you feel about this.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to know what her response was?
I'm curious. What was her response?
All right, let me go ahead and chime this in. She said, I didn't see nothing wrong with that. Everybody does it. It's available online. So, because there's a switch to blow up the neighborhood or to harm someone,
Mm-hmm.
because the Adam and Eve story, because the apple is so low that Eve can just walk up to it and grab it. Does that mean she should?
Common sense says no.
This reminds me of the Adam and Eve story, where God says specifically, and it's a story, Eve and Adam, he's talking to both of them, but this use Sarah in the situation. Don't touch the apple. And she gets curious and she does it anyway and hurts herself. Because come to find out, Brian, now, he called me like a week ago and he says, guess what, Morpheus, or in this case, LCM. She called me back and wanted to reminisce on the old days. And she remembered me. Some kind of way she's been keeping tabs and figuring out where he was. But, if she did the insidious, crazy stuff that she did in college, of course she has some type of, way to figure out where he's at. But now she has like 3 kids, Brian. 150 pounds more and unmarried. Wow. Imagine that.
Wow.
Imagine that. Do women ever learn?
Don't save her. She don't
Want to be saved, don't save her. See, let's say it again. Don't save her. Sing it.
All right.
You ain't right for that one.
I call like I see it, man.
Call it.
Call like I see it.
Now I think there's something else I wanted to ask you here. Let's see what you think about this. I encountered a woman who was struggling, right? And I do a lot of counseling on the side and talking to people. And she was asking me how to deal with her work world because she's so busy and she has a child that's 3 years old, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I began to explain to her that it takes two to raise a child in a neighborhood to sustain it. Mm-hmm. And to find a man to support her and to make things a lot easier, stay home with the kids.
Mm-hmm.
You want to know what this girl said when I said it would be better to stay home with her child and raise her child? Hey, what do you think? What do you think she said?
Something about I can do it by myself.
Oh, no, worse than that. Oh, no, worse than that, Brian. Worse than that. She said, you mean to tell me I need to stay home with my child and be with my child all the time? Pause. I said, why?
Wow.
Why wouldn't you not want? That's your baby. I said, if I was a woman, I'd be there. Listen, I want to be there when my child is walking, when my child first says their first word, when they start showing their teeth. Why wouldn't she?
How old was this woman?
Oh, guess.
30?
Oh, no.
Older?
Nope.
Okay. 20?
Younger. Oh, yeah. She was 21 years old.
That's crazy. They got a child mentality.
No. Who raised her to think like that? Apparently, her mother didn't show her no love and probably was cold-shouldered to her and just, you do it all by yourself. You're grown, because she was out there working. So apparently she's not really in the mindset or the mode of trying to be a wife or somebody's girlfriend, because according to her story, she's single. So she must have been pushed out of the house at a very young age. So whatever her mother did to her, she's passing on the tradition once again, where she thinks it's a labor to be at home with her own kids. Are you serious, Brian?
Oh, jeez. Wow.
The mindset of this new generation, huh?
Not everyone's supposed to be a mother.
Oh, man, you said it. Oh, my goodness. But you know what? They're not supposed to be, but they're bringing in the next generation. And whatever baby, I don't know if it's a boy or a girl, but that child's going to grow up taking up that same absent, non-compassionate spirit. That's going to be the future. This is going to be the next wave of human beings that's going to populate the planet. And this happens year to year, and nobody does anything about it. I mean, you may have somebody like Kevin Samuels, good blessings and support for him. But not enough people are speaking up about the situation. They talk about equality and a program of enjoying human beings and raising the awareness of families and people, but they allow this stuff to just go untold and unsaid. If that was a loving mother, and I'm not saying that she should do it, but if in the old days, maybe back in the 80s or 70s, maybe 90s too, if a real mom was saying that, and she told her daughter, hey, you need to be at home with your baby, and she says, I need to be at home with my baby all day? Are you effing kidding me? This is what you're going to hear. Right?
Usually, yeah.
Right? You better take your butt back home and take care of that child. That's your responsibility. But they could just get rid. See, the way modern women think, everything's okay. And she don't understand that there's a future behind this. And she just, like, human life don't mean anything. It's all about them. When I heard that, I said, you know what? Conversation's over. I can't help you. I couldn't. Well, what else am I going to say to her? I'm not going to be the one to... No. I'm just going to say goodbye. I'm not getting myself in no trouble, because guess what? The future is going to happen where the child's going to grow up and it's going to be her menace. The child's going to grow up, probably be a prison bait. Probably going to grow up and be in some type of lawful trouble. Probably going to grow up and rob or hurt somebody. He's going to be, or she's going to be heartless just as well as her mom. That's just the way it operates. Last but not least, I'm going to read something to you. And I'm going to pull this up. And I want to know what you think about it. And because I'm asking you these questions, Brian, because you're in this. We're like, you understand a lot of things I talk about, but we're also two sides of a coin. Mm-hmm. So, especially when it comes to religion. So that's fine.
Yeah, I'm the head.
And you said you're the head. What do you mean by that?
You said two sides of the same coin. I'm head.
Oh, please.
I'm the head.
Yeah, you wish. Not here, mother. No, I'm joking. No. What you mean, man? You want to step outside, man? What you mean? No. They said they want me to put the size 14 down on Brian. No, I ain't going to do that, crowd. I ain't going to do it. They said they want to hear this in a few minutes. I ain't gonna do you like that. Tow him away, officer. Now, here we go. Now, this was given to me by a religious person. Now, think clearly about what they wrote down here. This is Ecclesiastics. Mm-hmm. Give me your personal opinion on this. Now, remember I tell you about evolution and fear. And I've spoken about how church or religion throws out fear and the revelation of time and, it's the end of the world and everything like that. Okay. Mm-hmm. Let me show you some evidence, Brian, of your belief system. Let you hear for yourself, because now you see these are scriptures from Ecclesiastics. Think about what they do to your mind, and think about you as a man trying to better yourself and think and rise to the next level. As for anything besides these, my son, be warned. To the making of many books, there is no end, meaning knowledge continues. Yeah, that's good, right? We go, okay, knowledge, okay. And much devotion to them. Okay. Is wearisome to the flesh. Wait a minute. Since when going to the library, reading some Shakespeare or something else that can really give you some ideas of what other people are thinking, wearisome to the flesh? Because that's the human body, but why would it be wearisome to the flesh? I mean, that will be refreshing to the mind, and it will help your flesh because you know how to navigate life, right? Now, this is your book here. I didn't make it up, so I'm letting you think about this, and you come out with your opinion. I'm just interpreting. You can read it for yourself. I mean, obviously. And it continues. The conclusion of the matter, everything have been heard, meaning everything that I said, and there was more passages before that, is fear the true God and keep his commandments. Stop right there for a minute. Fear the true God and keep his commandments. Why would I need to tell you about the true God when, if I tell you, Brian, that I'm an alpha, right? Mm-hmm. And I do all the time. Why would I tell you that I am the true alpha? Fear me. All I have to do is show you. I mean, all I have to do is just, hey, let's go. Let's go to the gym. Oh, let me see you talk to a crowd of people. Let me see you stand out. And you'll say, okay, this is a different guy. I notice that there's some distinguishing factor.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a pawn. I'm not a peon. I'm not an average guy. You'd be like, yeah, this dude's, yeah, he's alpha. Yeah, I get it. And fear, when you write down something, Brian, the word is exactly what the word means. Like you'll say somebody, I love you, or this is concerning me. When you write to something, you actually mean concern, period. What the churches do, our religion would do, is turn fear around to be some type of reverence, like respect. Then why not put in there, listen, let's redo it the right way. Why not put in there, honor God and keep his commandments? Why would you say fear the true God? Because it's a propaganda. Once again, it's a mindset to say, I'm forcing you and commanding you to not only fear this almighty tyrant, but now I'm going to tell you that he's the true God, because there's other gods out there, as if God I don't need to prove myself as an alpha to other alphas and other men. I don't have to. Why would I care if somebody says this? I don't believe you, Morpheus, that you're an alpha. I'll be like, okay, that's fine. That's fine, because see me in action and you'll know the difference. I don't have to. So that's the same as God. Why would God need to, or need you, Brian, or anybody else, to say, this is the true God? Because a true God will say, I don't need your help. Just sit back, watch me dance. Watch what I do. I'm going to show you who I am. So when you read something like this and somebody's saying, fear the true God, they're giving you a program. They're wanting you to believe, because they know that there are some discrepancies. There are some contradictions. And they're like, oh, you know what? This is the true God. That's not the real drug over there. This is the real drug. That's not the, what do you call that? That's not the heroin over there. That's fake stuff. This is the real heroin. Why? And then you got this Bible talking about, oh, taste and see that the Lord is good and blah, 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 blah. I remember all that. Mm-hmm. So if you're tasting and you see that the Lord is good for yourself, in itself, you don't need anybody to tell you it's the true God, because the true God is speaking for itself. So you got people trying to intervene for this sky person, who's most likely a human being who knows nothing about a God unless they're God themselves. Oh, shoot. Now, but I'm going to let you give your opinion in your words, and I'm breaking it down for you so you can see it, and then you can add something to it. So it continues on. No, keeping his commandment. For this is the whole obligation of man. Once again, this is crazy. If it's the whole obligation of man, mm-hmm. Why would you give man the ability, the power, and the knowledge to write other books of knowledge that can open up your goddamn mind? Oh, no, Brian, listen, no. Don't judge it. Think about it. It says, for this is the whole obligation. Do you know what it means? What a whole means? That means when you get an apple, it's whole. So in our translation today, when you say the whole package or the whole deal, the whole story, that means you're getting everything. That means it's practically law. If it's the whole obligation of man, once again, to fear the one true God made up by this human conclusion, then why is man able to not only defy God, but remember, man was made by God. So God makes man to defy himself. Smart. So in other words, God makes man to also make all these books to add more knowledge to man. But yet now you got this passage saying, don't read too much of that, because I just want you to listen and learn by the truth, to fear God and to go by the true God. But don't listen or read and get all into those books, because it just might be wearisome to the flesh. Now, I didn't write this. I didn't write this. I'm just breaking it down. And let's see. They keep talking about, it goes warn against endless possession of books. Endless possession of books. Really? So if you have a bookshelf and you're reading outside of the Bible and you're gravitating to other people and other teachers and other translations, it's wrong. And it says here, the books that are products, it says, let me read it. Warns against the endless possession of books that are product of worldly reasoning. Product of worldly reasoning. Your body doesn't need to reason with your own existence. Now let's continue. It gets worse. This is your book here. This is what people put online. This is translation, and it's the Bible that you derive these. Let's just continue, because this is making me feel like this. This is because I'm trying to show you something here. Watch this. Conflict with God. It says reasoning and conflict with godly wisdom. Wow, amazing. You know, if it's worldly reasoning and it conflicts with godly wisdom, but you have God that create men to create ideals and science books, math books, social study, and history. How can that not derive and create some type of wisdom from it? You got a whole library, you got some type of wisdom from it. That's not a form of godly wisdom. Didn't God make them? Oh, oops. Oops. You made man to make these books. That's not a form of godly wisdom. That's amazing. I mean, I don't know what you tell. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. Let's keep going, because we're almost done. I'm gonna let you wrap it up here, because I'm gonna let you go ahead and finish this up. Here's your Shangri-La, Brian. This is what I really need you to check out. I'm just reading from it. I stopped at conflict with godly wisdom. Here's the kicker. Books that do not instill, wait a minute. Books that do not instill the fear of the true God and keeping his commandments. Books that do not instill fear of the true God. So basically, if there are other alphas in the world, there's other men that are good as me or whatever else. They're trying to demand you. Let's just say that I'm God or something like this, for example. Don't listen to them. I'm the one and true alpha. And I'm the true alpha, and I want you to fear that I am that guy. I mean, just what? What? Why would, and then they say this thing in the Bible, God is a jealous God. Oh, so now we are attributing God with human feelings and emotions, as if God would really care and give two whistles about what you do, and God have created you to do what you do. Wait a minute. Why would God get jealous at you, and God made you to be what you are, so he's jealous of his own creation? So, Brian, I don't know what else to tell you, man. I don't know. I didn't write this. I did not write this. This is where the Crusades come from. This is where you got the dragging, tar, feather, throwing bodies into the pit, because you don't believe in their righteous ideas and perception. This is where you come up with them coming up with metal shields with a cross on it, talking about, oh, you don't believe in my faith, no, hang them. with the pitchfork, get him, get him, get him, get him, get him. And then you're done for. Where is that at? Because you don't believe. And then they say, oh, salvation is free. Oh, but wait a minute. You got to believe in order to receive. What? Salvation is free, but you have to believe to receive. But if you don't believe, you're a non-believer, you won't receive it. So how is it free? Okay. Now to finish this up, Brian, it says something about an example of such was found in Ephesians, where spiritualism and demonism were rampant after the preaching of the good news about Christ. Listen, the believers brought their books of magic and burned them. You know, in the old days, what they called magic, witchcraft, and demonism was called, have you ever heard this thing? Kevin Samuel said it. It's a very beautiful, it's perfect. Well, I think I wrote this down. Where is it at? Guilt, shame, and the need to be right. Guilt you. Oh, you're a non-believer. You must be a sinner. You're going to get tried. Shame on you. Tar and feather. Shame on you. You don't believe in my belief system. Shame on you. The need to be right. Oh, because God did this. Because the Christ is beautiful, blue and white. Oh my God, came to save the world. But shame on you. And what happens is when you don't, it's the same as the relationship today, Brian. When you don't line up to a woman's program, when you don't do what they tell you to do, when you are red pilled, when you tell a woman no and she can't take L's, what will she do? Make you guilty, shame you, and she will always try to, instead of her being accountable and be honest and say, yeah, okay, I'm wrong and maybe I should change my ways. She needs to be right, so she'll start throwing stuff back at you. She start throwing your past back at you. She start dragging you through the mud. Well, you did this, and why are you telling me that? Well, my mama said, but wait a minute, baby, why don't you just say you're wrong? But she can't do it. So it plays out the same in this story, where when you have a book that you're reading that's different than the program, different than the belief system, they're going to guilt you into it, then shame you. Oh, you're a sinner. You're a devil worshiper. Burn that stuff so they can continue with their program. So I'm pretty sure those books was no different than the book of the Bible, the Quran, the Torah, and all this kind of stuff, where people's like, you know what? Because it's different than what we are programmed to believe in, because we believe in the Christ. Remember I said after. So when I say after, most people was already programmed. So it was like, you know what? I'm going to throw all these other books away, and I'm just going to keep whatever that they write. Johann Gutenberg and the printing press and all the crazy stuff. And that came out. But anyhow, they start doing that because they wanted to be right by the religious idea. So they start navigating to destroy others that have a different perspective on existence. So they were called demons. They were called witches. They were called demonic devil worshippers, and they were outcasts. I guarantee you they weren't book of witchcraft and demonic behavior. They weren't, because they didn't have that type of idea back then. Everybody was looking for a way to exist and to coexist with existence, so they had their own ideal of doing things. That didn't make them evil. It didn't make them devil worshippers. They just wanted to dominate and take control, and that's what happened to religion. Because if you don't abide by the program, then you're considered as an enemy. If you don't believe, but they do that now. Oh, you're worldly. You're a sinner. You don't love God. You'd be like, wait a minute. I have nothing to do with God. Let's have a different idea of how I exist. Oh, no, you ain't been in church for like 2 weeks, so you're a backslider. Wait a minute. Who calls somebody a backslider? What? You heard that term before, right? Mm-hmm. You're a backslider. Oh, so now you're going to shame me. See, guilt, shame, and the need to be right. Oh, you haven't been to church in a month. Shame. Guilty is, oh, maybe you're falling away from God. You're a sinner. Wait a minute. You went out of town and you didn't pray for about a week. Oh, God don't like that. God is a jealous God. Now you're feeling guilty. And then behind all that, oh, because they feel the need to be right so they can continue their programming. So in doing so, they do menticide. They get over the contradictions. They won't read what I just read to you. They won't take it in that way. And what they would do is, when you read it to them and say, hey, it says fear God. It didn't say, okay, how come they didn't say honor? How come they didn't say respect? How come they didn't say, are you ready? Follow. Why fear? Because fear is like a whip in the back of a slave. You're going to do it, and if you don't do it, burn in hell. That's why. But if you tell Christians this, if you tell the religious people this, oh, my God isn't a tyrant like that. Really? Okay. That comes up with the need to be right. So if you tell them that, you know what they're going to say? Oh, that's not what fear means. Fear means this and that. Wait a minute. No. Brian wrote down on a piece of paper, he said concern. See, that's why I want you to say that. Back to ground zero. You said concern. You didn't mean anything else. But you got other people that would translate you saying concerned into something else. And you didn't even mean that. When they meant fear, they meant fear. Fear is not respect. There's no fear talking about, oh, I reverence. I fear my father. What? No, it's either respect or you actually scared. Scared type of fear. I'm in fear. There is no other. It's just fear. So when you have this word and they add, there's a word for that. Different definitions for it. Different ways to play with this word. That's where the confusion come up. And then one of the things I stand by, which makes sense, the Bible has some poetry and some poems and words of wisdom from men who wrote it. But they said something that made sense, Brian, and I want people to know this. They said the devil is the author of confusion. So when they can play with words and throw them around, but you see the word in your face, it says fear. Your mind says fear. Your teacher says fear. Your professor tell you it's fear. A kid would tell you that it's fear, but the pastor would tell you that it's something else. So, I give the floor to you now. What do you think? Now, I wasn't to try to, what do you call that? Be aggressive with this. It's just to share this bit of information with you. Since you told me that you're a believer, fine. You have this idea, fine. You was once in it. That's cool. That's your opinion. That's your lifestyle. But how do you take this in for someone who was once there? I mean, I didn't write it. You hear it from and how do you interpret it? How do you perceive this? I won't judge you, Brian. I won't. I mean, if you still want to go with it, that's fine. We all have choices, but you can't say that you didn't get the memo. The crowd want to know. Now, I'm not putting you on the spot, but there's plenty of Christians out there now. There are religious people that are hearing you right now. So if you want to speak up for them, now's the time to do it. If not, you're going to disappoint them. So I'm telling you now. So whatever you say, it's on you. But if you want to be honest and say, hey, that makes sense. And something smells like fish. It looks like fish. It got scales like fish. It might be a fish. That's on you. So go ahead. Hit them with it.
I have a feeling that me and you will not. It seems we will not agree with the religion. Here I am. I'm indoctrined in it. You broke out of it.
Wait. Oh, you said so. Wait a minute. You said something. Wait. What did you just say? You said a word.
Indoctrined.
Oh man. Okay. Okay. Go ahead. Do you know why I said that? Do you know why? You want to know why? That word?
Wow.
Did you know, Brian, and I didn't mean to cut you off because the people want to hear this. They need to pick up all these pieces so they can put their conclusion together.
Mm-hmm.
Did you know that that is exactly what the religions are? It's called indoctrination. Do you know that when the pastors, they have to go through training to teach you what the word of God is, which is strange because if it's God speaking through them, God needs to be trained to tell you his message. I mean, wow. See? And they call it indoctrination. But you said it, I didn't. That's what you came out of your mouth. But continue. You're right. You was indoctrinated. I came out of it. So go ahead. I apologize for interjection.
Yeah. I'm just saying the way you read it, the way I read it, two different things.
Go ahead. My finger slipped. So what did you get out of it? What did you get? Go ahead. You have every right.
There are words that have more than one meaning.
What's your meaning? That's what your people want to know. I mean, like I said, I have no qualms against the religious. I just speak the facts, and if you have a different interpretation, share it with them. You know, they're willing to listen. Don't be defeated because you're going to make them look bad.
I mean, I'm not defeated. It's just that it's almost pointless. It's like when you talk to somebody who believes one way and totally against your way of belief, it's almost pointless because they're going to believe what they want to believe.
Yes, but what we're doing here, though, Brian, is I presented a fact to you, and it's not a belief. It's not a belief. It's not that I don't believe. I know, not belief. Believing is that when we sit here talking, the sound of my voice and our listeners, you're not believing that I'm talking to you. You know I'm talking to you. They know I'm talking to you. And as you listeners, you know I'm talking to you. Nowhere in that is you believe I'm talking to you or you, Brian, believe that I'm talking to you. You know I am. So when you say you believe, you only believe in something that you don't know in. Why? You didn't say I know. You didn't say I'm talking to you from. You didn't say, well, if you're talking to somebody who knows in something, it's rather pointless because this person know what they know versus what you know. When you do that, it's called a debate. So if you can't debate a person based on what they think about a thing is, that means you really don't know. You believe in something that you don't really know about. So that means, what do you have for the people and for me to tell me that I am wrong or to give me something that's valid that I can come back at you with, or that I can say, okay, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe maybe I read it wrong. Maybe fear was different and maybe the true God meant something else. I mean, I don't know. So if you're standing, here's the thing. If you're standing behind your religion, that's fine. You're standing behind God, fine. But you're in the representative seat right now. If you say you believe in it, in your words, prove that you believe by telling me what you know. I'm telling you what I know. If you came to me, how come you Morpheus don't stand by this religion or this idea? I just told you. So I presented myself with what I know. Now it's time for you to present what you know. Now, don't disappoint your listeners or yourself, because if you can listen, here's the facts. If you cannot vocalize what you stand by in your religion, If you cannot prove why you believe, if you cannot produce maybe even, an idea, pamphlets, a way, or anything to diffuse this debate or this information that's been given to you, then that means you're not standing on the right side of the train tracks, because you're coming to me unprepared. See, I told you I was going to throw something random at you. So if you say, well, Morpheus, I believe, and we're just two sides of the coin, and remember what you said. I'm trying to hold you to. You said you the head. Okay. All right, boss. You the head. I'm going to let you be the head. Fine. You said all this stuff, and you also said, well, we're just not going to see eye to eye. Well, I told you why I don't see eye to eye with it. What is your argument on your side of the field that'll make me think, say, maybe he's on to something? That's when you come up. See, truth battles each other like that.
Well, I'll tell you what. First off, let me see the verse.
You want to read it?
Yeah, let me read it so I can break it down, tell you what I see.
Okay. It's on here, so fair enough. I'll let you read it and let you...
Mm-hmm.
Let me bring it back up for you. All right. Let's see what he can do, ladies and gentlemen. So it's this one and this one. So we click on this.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Let me know when you're ready to go to the next one.
All right. So, as for anything besides these, my son, be warned. To the making of many books there is no end, and much devotion to them is wearisome to the flesh. Now, that part right there, the reason why it says wearisome to the flesh, worrisome as in burdensome.
Don't cover the microphone, but okay.
Okay.
There you go.
Yeah, worrisome as in burdensome.
Okay.
It's because when you hear a book that supposedly is filled with quote unquote knowledge, it's knowledge based on this person that's writing the book. So you're hearing what might not be true. It's based off of their point of view and how they see things.
Isn't that...
So that doesn't necessarily mean it's the truth.
Okay, isn't the Bible itself? Remember, Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, Joshua, Judges, Ruth. Do you want me to keep going? Exodus, Nehemiah, what? John, Job, Psalms, Proverbs. Do you want me to keep going? Ezekiel. So you mean to tell me that those people who wrote these ideas and these scriptures and these passages, they don't count in people putting their spin on it? Because last time I checked, there was a transcript for what is his name, Saint John, and Paul as well. Paul had his own spin on what he thought Jesus wanted, and so did Saint John as well. Whatever happened to that? Oh, not to mention Barabbas. What about them? So what difference does it make for other people out in the world writing their ideal of life in books and whatever energy, or not energy, but whatever their perception of information is, versus the people who are in the Bible? So that means you're telling me that the people in the Bible are excluded from giving you their perception of reality, but yet they're people too.
But all their books revolve around the same message.
Isn't that what I just said a few minutes ago? You're you're grounding what I just said. I don't have the soundboard right here, so I don't think it's here we go. You're grounding what I just said. Didn't I just read to you, and it's down to reread it? Anything other than talking about the fear of the real God or the true God is considered wrong.
And that's the fear. There are words that have more than one meaning. They call them homonyms.
We're talking about something in the past here. Before we got into the conclusion of homonyms and synonyms and other parallel words to go with word that you're using. We're talking about people from the old days figuring out existence. You know, human beings develop all the time. They're learning something different. So imagine the words in the old days versus the words now. Like, let's say, for example, the word gay, okay? It only really meant happy. But you can use it in 3 other ways, right?
Back then, they had both ways.
No, well, it meant happy. It also meant that, you was, going for the same sex. And nowadays, young kids will say, "Oh man, you gay," meaning that you're weak, or you're soft, or you're just this lame type of person. So you use it in that type of way because the English language have been modified, and there's people listening now who are pretty good with language and English, and they're probably historians as well. They know about how the English language have changed over the years. And it will always change because we're always defining the Webster Dictionary and Wikipedia and stuff like that based on too many people saying a certain thing. That doesn't mean it means much. It just means that so many people are saying it that they document it. So let's go on to the next. Go ahead, keep reading.
Yeah, the conclusion of the matter. Everything having been heard is fear the true God and keep his commandments. For this is the whole obligation of man.
What is commandments?
Commandments like...
What's commandments? I command you, right?
Demands.
So think about it for a minute, Brian. I'm not trying to persuade you. We're talking through this.
Mm-hmm.
I command you as your God not to read under the book. Don't be stressed. Don't do it because it can stress you out. You made this fall down. Hold on. Got to make sure that this don't fall out on you.
That's why you got a timer on it.
Yeah, it's a timer on it. That it's your obligation as a human being. A command from a God or somebody of his stature means this is what you do. So if I command you to do something, why would I make it easier for you not to do it? It's a command, right? That means this is wholesome for you to do. Why not make you that way by birth? You make a car, you give it commands, you have buttons to push on it, it's going to do it. If it was so serious for man to line up to this ideal of what's been written in a book, then why have it failed? But let's continue, because I want you to keep reading before I give you your full spin on it. Keep going.
All right, I already read that one.
Okay.
So
going to the next one?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let me...
Like I said, fear, yes, it does mean different things, just like...
Okay, now, here we go.
All right. The wise writer of Ecclesiastes warns against the endless procession of books that are a product of worldly reasoning. Worldly, because if you are of God, worldly is underneath. And in conflict with godly wisdom, books that do not instill the fear of the true God and the keeping of his commandments. An example of such was found in Ephesians, where spiritism and demonism were rampant.
Don't worry, I said that too.
Mm-hmm.
Demonicism.
Yeah. After the preaching of the good news about Christ, the believers brought their books of magic and burned them publicly. The calculation of their price being 50,000 pieces of silver. Okay.
Is that it?
Yep.
So that's your conclusion of it, huh?
Well, I wasn't done finished reading everything.
That's all that was there. That's the bottom. 50 pieces of silver. That's it. That's all he sent over there to me. But this comes to me by way of argument. It wasn't an argument. It was a debate that we were having. So I asked this guy. Now he was Jehovah. He thought he had something on me. So I said, give me something to read to give me ground evidence that this is the way to go. You just, God says, commandment here. Because I began to explain to the guy how knowledgeable I am about the world and life and everything like that. Okay, let me give you an example, Brian. There's a book that's out there, and I'm not going to give it any name. Actually, I will, because he deserves it. Okay? I'm gonna give you a name. I'm going to go ahead and do it. there is a decent man called Coach Greg Adams. He's a very wise man. And he made a book called Free Agent Lifestyle. Now, this book is knowledgeable about women and dating and life, things of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
Now, imagine your perception of religion telling you, hey, don't be reading stuff like that. It's going to frustrate you. It might be evil. Or women might say, angry women might say, oh, this is a demonic book. Like, it's got a woman in the front biting an apple. This book has been saving men's life. It's for men. It's been helping men to get out of bad divorces, help them financially. It's been open, and it's for us basically.
Mm-hmm.
So why would this book be considered as wrong, Brian? Why? How could that frustrate your flesh when it can actually save your flesh from a bad divorce? It'll save you from being homeless. It will save you from entering into the blue pill ring where women can manipulate you as a man. This is a really good example because we're talking about books here now. This man isn't truly a prophet of God. And he doesn't go to church all the time, but he has an idea of religion.
Mm-hmm.
But he took the time to make this book for men. And it's been helping men. So you tell me that how would his books and maybe plenty of other men, there was another, The Rational Male, another wonderful book for you, for us men to avoid us from being in the snares of female manipulation. Now, how is that going to be considered as weary for the flesh? Now, are y'all ready, ladies and gentlemen? Here we go. Have you read The Rational Male?
I can't say I have.
Have you read The Free Agent Lifestyle?
Can't say I have.
There you go. There you go. There you go. Because imagine men who are getting ready to be in some type of terrible marriage situation. And another man who's been there said, hey, stop. Read this book. Read it. And this man gets the book and it saves his life. How could he not be relieved or see some sense of information and knowledge from other sources and other books that are outside of this religious indoctrinated system? Your viewers want to hear from you.
Rephrase that question. We'll make sure I heard it correctly.
If this book was healthy for men, and it is,
mm-hmm.
and it saved a man from a bad divorce or making a bad decision with the wrong type of girl, how would this book be considered as weary for the flesh, terrible for people, if it's actually showing positive results, whereas the only thing you got for this idea of the true God is this religious book that doesn't tell you anything about how to avoid and how to make yourself better as a man. It'll tell you what not to do. It has some stuff with Adam and Eve and Delilah and, how women can tear down the kingdom and, don't put the cart before the horse type of stuff. But it really doesn't break it down in detail as to an actual man who can bring it home to you and make it understandable. Because remember, it's based on a time that's kind of different than today. So it can't be explained to you where you can really understand it. And then, of course, that's when you have the indoctrinated pastor, because you don't understand it. He comes in and say that he's a voice for God. To confuse you even further. But have any pastors created a book called Free Agent Lifestyle? No. Have any pastors wrote a book about the rational male to try to help you out of this dilemma that you have in America with the modern woman? Your Honor, I rest my case. Any other last words, Brian, before we put a closure to it? Because I'm giving you the floor here. I'm not dominating.
Nope. No words at all. Not this time.
All right. Well, until next time, I like having you out on the guests. I always give you an opportunity, and you're the only one I pretty much trust right now. But there's more to come. And I hope y'all got something out of it so you can come up with your own conclusion. Open up your mind and think about what has been said here from both sides of the panel. Until next time.